All right, so what we're doing, we're going to finish up our conversation. We are looking at the effective use of professional development here in Prince George's County. We talked about this yesterday. And Kwashi, you're joining us today since Costin could not be here. Just to kind of recap what we talked about, we had rated the effectiveness of PD in this county. And some of us felt, well, the majority of us really felt that there was no continuity in terms of we get strategies, but we don't get the follow-up to it. We don't get time to implement them or the resources. Along with that, some of us felt that our professional development opportunities were kind of a waste, just because it wasn't what we need. It's not pertinent to our students. So we're just gonna kind of continue to work through our agenda, kind of keep going down the list of these questions and see what we can change, what suggestions we have. Kind of using the article as our template, our guide as to what we should do. So let's start with current PD. Kind of start there, just to kind of get us back in this mindset. What is adequate, most beneficial to our current PD offerings? Now I'm talking school-based. You know, we just had a PD here, so we can use that as our guide as well. What's most beneficial to us when we get these? It can be school-based or district-based. So what are you guys noticing? What's beneficial?
It's beneficial when we are given tools that we can actually apply in our classrooms. I think it's also beneficial when we are given the opportunity to speak amongst ourselves and talk about things that are happening in our classroom. Just see where everyone else is at.
Okay.
Yeah, any modeling opportunities, like you said, to piggyback on you, so we can get an opportunity to see what other teachers are doing within our discipline, within our schools even. So yeah, that's what's beneficial. The modeling piece, so we can actually see how it's implemented.
Do you feel that we get, I'm sorry to interrupt, do we get that a lot? Do you
No,
feel?
not enough, nowhere near enough, no.
Okay, I'm just curious. Do you feel that we get it more from our school-led professional development and less from the district, or just no across the board?
I would say no across the board.
Because that's where I am. That's where I feel, but I just want to see if I was the outsider on this, but
No,
I don't feel like there's a lot of modeling going on for
Yeah, it's
us.
across the board.
When I go to the district PD, typically it's just someone giving you information when no one's modeling anything, and they're just telling you do A, B, C, and X, Y, Z. But there's no modeling on how you should do that or how you can apply that in your classroom.
And throughout our curriculum, it says model this and show the kids this and write it with them. So we're constantly seeing that, and we're supposed to be doing that, but yet that's not how we're taught. So it's kind of, yeah.
Kwashi, comments on that one?
No.
Same, agree.
Yeah.
Well, and that speaks to the next one though. Like, we go and we get these strategies. How often are you able to actually implement things that you learn in a PD in your classroom? Because in my experience, if I go to a district-led PD, like you said, it's given, here it is. I don't always implement it because I don't fully understand it, but especially here on campus when we get an arts integrated lesson, I feel like some of those are modeled more. So I feel a little bit more comfortable with implementing it. Do you guys agree to that? Do you disagree?
I would disagree on the arts integration. For my content, I'm not exactly sure how to integrate all of the arts.
Okay. But do you feel though they at least model it more than they do like the district ones?
They do model it, but for me, sometimes I don't understand how I can integrate particular arts into
Into that.
math. And so certain arts are very easy to integrate, and others not so much. So I'm kind of left there. Visual art, we do that all the time because the math is all modeling, it's all visual. But when you get into the drama, like for instance, we had the tableau, how will I use that for math? Maybe I can give them scenarios to act out a word problem. I'm just thinking off the top of my head, but typically I just don't know. So I don't do a whole lot of drama, but we do the music because they like to rap and things of that nature. Dance, nothing. So there are certain arts that we I find challenging to use in my classroom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Same for you, Ms. Bohan?
Yeah, I would say out of 10 PDs, maybe 2 of them I was actually able to carry over into class. And I agree with what Ms. Ron is saying. I feel like they model it well, but at the very end, everyone's kind of rushing to get out, and they don't, finish and follow through and say, well, let's talk about how we can apply this into your classrooms. And then I would like to see more of, show like the actual application. Because if they're gonna, waste our time showing us how to do these things, if we don't know how to use them in our classrooms, what's the point of going to the PD in the first place?
Okay. That made me think, one of the things that I read about, one of the things I was focusing on is, taking away from the professional development and the way that we typically think of it in terms of where you go, you sit, you listen, and more of you go and you observe a teacher doing a strategy that they think would be beneficial or that they already know has mastered it. So do you think that would do us a better service? I mean, if you were watching a teacher, like another math teacher, integrate some kind of or arts incorporation into the lesson, or any of these strategies, instead of going and seeing them, here's a strategy, instead of seeing it that way, let's watch a teacher do it.
Right.
Would that make sense?
And that would be easier. And another teacher mentioned when we do the PDs, like when it's us, it's more beneficial because it's just we're using the strategies based upon this school's needs, opposed to because all of the PDs don't fit this school's needs, because it's K through 8 arts integration. So our school's a lot different. So yeah, if we saw a teacher do it, or if it was a little in-house and something maybe we sat down and were able to plan and see what works for us. Like basically we should maybe sit down. I went to a tech workshop, which was our Tech Tuesday, which is awesome. And basically Mr. Brent, the facilitator, basically sat us down and said, what do you guys need? Let's do workshops based upon our needs. So let's talk about the needs that we have, and then we could branch off and go to workshops based upon our needs. Not just have a workshop thrown at us and say, okay, instead of trying to say, okay, here's the workshops and you go to it. Let's talk first, have a dialogue, and then implement those workshops or use those workshops based upon our needs.
So you guys don't do that at like district level?
No.
Oh, okay. I guess I'll speak from a counseling perspective. We do that at our PDs. We talk about it, and then we break off into groups, and we
Counseling,
work,
right.
and
Right.
we work, and then are there any
Wow.
questions? Oh yeah, so I feel more comfortable applying things in my field. So that's shocking to hear that. You
No,
guys
it's
don't
sign
do
up.
that.
The closest we get is sign up for which workshop maybe that
Right.
you might want to go to, and then sit in that.
Well, and
we
then-
practice a lot.
At the end, they'll say, fill out this questionnaire, like what questions do you still have, but there's never, like we said, there's no follow through. You ask a question, but that doesn't mean you're ever going to get an answer to it. So if you don't have clarification on something, you're not going to get that.
Absolutely.
So Lynn, you said something I was going to bring up. It wasn't on here as one of our questions, but you mentioned the technology piece. And I know that we have a great technology professional development here monthly. That in itself and the other professional developments, do we get the resources? Like when you go to that professional development, do you feel like you have the resources in your classroom to implement the strategies that you learn?
Well, the way Mr. Brent does it, yeah, we do. More resources would definitely be needed, would be definitely welcomed. But yeah, as far as what we do, he kind of caters to what, he already knows what we have because he's a teacher in our building as well. So he kind of caters, the workshops and the Tech Tuesday according to what we can use, what we have. And I'm sure, if we needed other outside things, maybe he would go a step further and see if he can get those resources. But right now, yeah, he does cater to what we already have.
Do you guys feel like we have the resources we need when we go to these PDs, or is it pretty much here's the strategy, make it work as best you can?
We don't have the resources district-wide. And a lot of times things are not even put together yet. For instance, for math, we're supposed to be using this web-based assessment tool. And guess what? When you go to log in, it's not even set up. It doesn't even work. But you're saying, oh, use this, do this, do this.
Is that clever?
It's like, not clever,
Wow.
but Mobius mathematics.
Oh, okay.
But it's kind of like they're just talking at you versus really interacting with you. And caring about what goes on in our classroom and what we deal with. I think sometimes people that lead these PDs, they're so out of touch with what goes on in the day to day.
And that's where, going back to what you said, they're so far removed. I think the teacher-led ones, it's easier to buy into that.
Yes.
Because you know that they know the realities of your school and what you're putting up with.
Yes.
in the
They're
classroom.
going through the same struggles
Right.
that you're going through.
So it's more
that helps.
realistic. So going to the next one, we're down to the last couple. How important or valued do you guys consider professional development at this point in the game? Like, do you value professional development, or is it just kind of a wash?
I don't look
No.
forward to it.
No, it's low on my scale. Honestly, I don't take a lot from it, and it's just a waste of time. Something we have to do.
What about you? So you said yours are different.
I
So
enjoy mine. I guess I'm the odd man out. I do look forward to my PDs. I learn a lot. So I look forward to mine.
We're in the wrong profession.
well, the
I
ironic.
feel like if we were all with our content people, even district wide, and we're just able to talk to them and hear them and get different perspectives, like we're not given opportunities to get what we actually need. So I feel like I would not feel the same way if I was, if our voices were heard more.
Well, and the ironic thing is, I went to that professional development today. That was only reading language arts teachers, but everything you guys have said right now, just here it is, just being talked to. Here it is, not really caring. I felt like that was it. They're giving us books and things like that to talk about, but walk us through it. What are we supposed to do with this? Now, don't just give me a PowerPoint. Walk me through some of this stuff. So let's shift gears from where we are now and look at the future. So, what would you like to see offered? In terms of PD, like, do you want it to be geared where we come in, we take a survey at the beginning of the year, like, this is what we want, this is what we need? Do you want, one of the things that I had focused on in my other school was, like I said, it was more geared towards you observe other teachers implementing strategies, but it was a year-long commitment. You sign up, you do this, and then not only do you observe, then that teacher will actually come observe you to see you implement that strategy and give you feedback. And it's not, doesn't affect you in any way, shape, or form in terms of an evaluation, but it was great to hear feedback from a teacher from, not a non-confrontational, just, this is helpful. So just throwing this out there, what do you guys want to see offered here in this district to kind of revamp professional development?
And not only that, just to kind of piggyback, I would like to see like you're doing it together, like jump in, help, like team teach type thing. That would be fun. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how many opportunities there are to do that, but definitely more come in, see what the needs are. Like you said, fill out a survey, do whatever, and then throughout the year, like you guys do, go to that workshop or whatever that fits. That's definitely a first.
You made me think, I'm sorry, this just popped in my head, but going to these district ones, I'm thinking today of how monotonous it was, but it was like, it'd be neat to see one of them come in and say, here's my classroom, do your strategies, show me, with my kids, with my resources.
Yeah, I don't think that ever
Show,
happened.
no, I'm not saying it will happen, but I'm
that's
saying
it,
like it would be
that
interesting to
works
see.
Right. And I've been in the county like 20 years. I've never seen that. But that would be good. I've never seen the higher ups come and show us how it's done. You want us to do it this way? Come show me. I'm more than willing to listen. I'll sit there and take notes on everything you say.
Or
So
even
come and
participate,
show
like
me.
you said, do that
Yeah, or
co-teaching,
do it
but you
with me.
lead,
Yeah.
and let me just kind of be the assistant for this
Right.
part. So I like that.
Exactly. Yeah, that would be good.
And then this question is for my own personal data. Last one before we do feedback. Time constraints. How often should we be required to do PD in a professional opinion? Like, should it be monthly? Should it be quarterly? Should it be only at the beginning of the year, the end of the year? What are some thoughts? Just curiosity.
I think that is 100% dependent on what's happening in the PDs. If they're going to listen to us and, give us time, give us what we want, I would be fine with meeting monthly or quarterly. But at this point, like, once a year is fine with me.
Well, and I look at like our collaborative planning that we do, and I mean it's data driven, but I feel like I don't walk away with a lot of it. I mean, I hate to be like that. I just feel like we go in there, go through the motions, we leave, and we just wait till next Wednesday when the next one pops up.
What do you think of where, I guess, Mr. Young and Ms. Hamilton is trying to take it, taking it back to collaborative planning where we talk about instruction or, I don't know, from what happened last week. I don't know. What do you think of that? Do you think that's moving in the right direction?
Yeah, it's a start. We're not
Yeah,
there.
That's
We're
true.
not there yet, but it is a start. The way they're doing it, yeah. I think it's better. I think it improves on the way we've done it previously.
Makes me think they might be hearing us. That there's a disconnect of what it is versus what it should be. But I go back to that question: how often should it be? How has the data changed in a week? You know, how can I really implement this strategy and see the feedback in 5 days? I mean, and then you have teachers who don't even see kids every day, so they might only see them twice to implement this. So I just wonder if that's too much.
I think it's too much. I do, and I think it's just a bunch of paper. And not, I just don't see it being as purposeful as it can be, because it's this. You, like you said, you need time. And it's so many different things you have to fill in for this and that. And I'm like, okay, how can this be used for everything? You know, so in some way you might have to change that up depending on what you're doing or depending on what the content is. You can't just have this, just one outline for everything. I just feel that it doesn't work that way, because we are not just one content specific or one type of data. It's more than just the universal template. It's deeper than that. It's not just, okay, we're going to sit and we're going to discuss this and these are the strategies. That's great. That's all fine and dandy, but are we really going to do it? Are we really going to follow up? Because I find that in this building we get laxed and there's no follow through. So we start out, yeah, it's a good thing, it might be a good thing, but we don't stick to anything.
You've been here since creation.
Yeah, no, she's I know, right?
Really?
She's right. I mean, she's right. And that's, again, I think that's where maybe we're kind of using the example that the county is setting, because, you know, there's no follow-through there. There's no, yeah, so.
When you said that, all I can think of is I feel like we're meeting to meet
Yeah,
Oh.
yes, definitely.
instead of meeting to learn.
You guys don't get enough true planning. That's how I see it. Like, to really sit and plan.
And
I don't see
I was telling them last time, 92% of teachers say they feel professional development is a waste of time because it comes during planning. Professional development day. Here's your meeting. Here's your strategies. Good luck this year. We'll see you next year on the first day of school.
Yeah, even if I wanted to implement the wonderful things they show us, I don't have time, because by the time I get back, I'm like, all right, well, I gotta email all these parents, and then I have to.
You gotta get ready for sitting.
You gotta get your
And you gotta
Why
make
not make it a paid day? Like, and I know this is probably like what. Like, I would even come on a paid Saturday or something. If they said, you know, once every whatever, and they could offer us, you know, and it's not affecting, you know, our planning and all that. I would, like, maybe once a month, something, you know, do it like that.
Well, and I feel, I don't know, maybe it's just me. Being newer to the district, last year when I went to those new teacher trainings, I felt like I was almost duped. Because that first training I went to, it looked so organized, so strategy driven. I was like, oh, this is gonna be awesome. All these professional developments. And I remember I went to the follow-up one. I was like, where did the other stuff go? I mean, there were none of those strategies. It was just, here's your stuff. So, I mean, I agree with you. I would definitely like to get paid for it. So, okay, so what we're gonna do, just to wrap it up, if you would, just kind of want you guys' feedback on how this discussion group went. So if you could just answer the questions on the survey, take 2-3 minutes, and just write your answers down there at the bottom for me. Just what went well, what you would like to see happen, things like that. And we will wrap this up. I appreciate you guys so much for doing this. thank you guys very much for your feedback, and we'll see where it goes. All right.
Okay.